welcome, friends. Well, after 2.5 years of doing this on this channel, metal detecting, I'm gonna have to use a snow day. You can't dig in ground like this. Just a few weeks ago, it looked like this. Perfect condition. And to beat it all, hunting season just closed. It's time to get in them. But how do you get down in stuff like this? You people up north really know what I'm talking about. So I thought I'd share with you today, if you want to watch. Some of you may not want to watch. But anyway, I'm going to share with you why I stay in these old Tennessee ridges. Number one is, there's a lot of country here with a lot of history laying in the ground. Just finding that right rock or that right little place. And I'm going to share with you this old area, why I stay here. And number two is just, it's hard to get permission, you know what I'm saying. I get a few permissions here and there, but most people right now don't want to fool with you if they don't know you. So I'm going to share with you why I stay in these old Tennessee ridges and show you some of the stuff that's here to be found. So let's get started. Well guys, we'll start off here at the head of these old Tennessee ridges. Next to the county road is an old house. I'd made a video here, the last one I put out. I'd been at this place 2 times before. This house replaced an old 1800s house that burnt down in the 1920s, and they built this one. Now, nobody's lived here in 15 years. And I've metal detected twice before and found nothing but trash after trash after trash, thousands of targets. And I did manage this last time to find a penny, but it wasn't no old penny. It was an old stinking Lincoln. And finding old stuff like this, old relic, I like finding stuff like this. But this is about what I found, and when I get back on a pretty day, I'll try to get back on this old house again. Weather's got to be right to get on that house. Pretty place. I like to my best to go way back in these old ridges. It's that time of year to hit it again. Back on the old 4-wheeler and head way back in these old ridges. There's where the history's at. And I work these old pioneer road beds. Big old roads. Been here a long time. And I'll share the video that goes with what I'm showing at the time. Old road beds like this. Some of them have been kept up and some have not, like this. This is an old wagon road with a 50, 60-year-old tree growing in the middle of it. I know it though. And I find some old stuff. I found no penny here and there on these old roads. I figured as old hunters pulling shells out of their pockets, and out rolls a penny. I don't find them many, but I do find them from time to time. And you can see this old country. It's so rough. Solid rocks, gorges, sinkholes, hollers. This is some virgin country here for metal detecting. There's about 500 square acres here of nothing but just untouched metal detecting. And a lot of history has passed through these old woods. I mean a lot. About half a dozen miles or so from here, Davy Crockett's family lived. And he did too before he went to Middle Tennessee. And I know he passed through here hunting. I just know it. But I can't prove it. And I get into places like this in these old woods, these old fields, these old house seats. You just gotta find them. They're gone. And I'll find stuff like this every once in a while. Old cauldron. Wonder how old that is. Just pieces of it. Where old houses and pioneers used to live back in these old ridges. A lot of history laying here if I could just find the right spot. I know they are. Love finding this old stuff. of people lived in these old ridges, just don't know where the cabins was at. And I find old places like this too. Here I thought was an old steel, but it turned out it wasn't. I really still don't know what it is, but it ain't a steel. There ain't no running water close by. And you can see the metal detector. The old video goes with it. You want to look at any of these old videos, you can go back in my channel and dig them. I found stuff like this down in here. Old axe head. Wonder how old that is. Mushroomed head on it. Find stuff like that all the time back in these old woods. And this place is plumb full of sinkholes and caves back in these ridges, here and there. You have to watch yourself. You fall down in a hole, or you're careful you break your leg and something. Falling off would be my biggest concern, or pulling a rock off on yourself. You could see these old places. And some of them are deep too. And don't look at that's 50-foot cliff right there. And I'll try my best to work my way down in these things, metal detecting best I can. Just have to be careful in these old places. They're unforgiving, just like nature is. Well, anyway, I worked my way on down in some of these old sinkholes. Just where trash has been thrown them over the years. Who knows what else is under that trash that I can't get under. Places like this. I look and look for arrowheads, old pottery and stuff. I haven't really found no arrowheads, but I'm looking. I'm more using the metal detector than I am anything. So much country. I get in here and I'll check all these rocks. You see me in these videos if you watch them. I'm always checking under these rocks. And when you least expect it, there'll be something in there. I get in here and crawl up under them if I can. If the time of year is right. Can't do this in the summer, it's way too snaky. But there's history in these old rocks, I'm telling you. People say, you're crazy, Donnie, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, if you just do a little research on the history of the areas, you'll find out. So I have to try. And every once in a while I look up. Here's an old rock shelter here I was checking under. Found some old 3-ring Civil War bullets. Found 2 of them, matter of fact. Down in the dirt. I don't know if some soldier was on guard or hid up under the rocks. I don't know. But there it is. And I managed to find 2 in this spot. Good shape too. Stays dry under that rock all the time. Just big surprises. You just never know what's under these rocks. And of course I find these shotgun shells by the dozens. I love to find them. Look how old this one is. History, buddy. It's history. A lot of people hate them, but I love them. And we get back to some of these old caves here I'll show you back in these old ridges. Some of them are dangerous. This one's got like a 50, 60 foot drop off in it. You wouldn't want to fall down in that. Now, I've explored them a little bit. And here's one I found a sinkhole. I got down in it, took a camera. I said, there is a folding chair sitting 10 foot down in that rock. What in the world? What story is going on there? Is there a cave down in there? I can't get in some of these by myself. It's much too risky. Right in the middle of these old ridges in the middle of nowhere. Now here's one on cave back in this ridge. It's a big old cave, but it don't go over a few 100 feet. The amazing thing about this old cave is I know it's been used by the Native Americans and the settlers. There's proof of it in here. But I haven't found anything of value, some square-headed nails, stuff like that. There's an old campfire right here. People brought wood in a long time ago. Now I'm metal detected around it. Like I said, all I found was old square nails, so I know it's way over 100 years old. And who knows, the Native Americans used this cave too. And I'll show you some of the dates in it, just to prove how old the people's been in here. There's an 1857. And this cave, it kind of, time stands still in this cave and on these walls, where it's dry especially. Really old dates. There's a 1901, 1902. Another 1902. Here's an 1881. Look how mint condition it is. Like it was just wrote yesterday. In a dry part of this cave. On the wall. You can look at the video to this cave detecting that I done. It's got all kinds of dates I'll show you. Now there's one cave that's the big mystery to me. And I didn't find this till last spring. And it's got an old marker tree over it, what we call an Indian marker tree. But it can't be 50 years old, it's a maple. So we know it wasn't made by Indians, but somebody marked that tree. It's perfectly marked. Ain't no tree fell across it and bent it or nothing. Somebody bent that tree. Well, this old camera that I made to go down in this vertical cave is an old GoPro with some powerful LED lights on it. And I'll ease it down in there with a rope, and I'll show you the pictures I took of it. I made a couple videos of this cave. Here we are going down. This cave is about 60, 70 foot straight down vertical. And here's some of the formations that I captured with that camera. Stalactite, stalagmite, a column. Beautiful. Untouched. I'm not saying nobody's not been in this, but it has been, one or two might have been in it. This is looking back up when that camera fell back on its back on the bottom. You can see what it looks like. Straight down. There's where the camera hit the bottom. And you flip back and look up towards where it come from. It's just a vertical cave down in the rocks. This is a place that's just untouched because it's so hard to get to. Now this is what I figured the cave looked like. You're on the surface. It goes down vertically and it opens up into different rooms, places east and west, but it's about 70 foot deep. And I capture pictures like this. I call it the Indian head. It looks just like an Indian's head. Now what's that look like in this cave? That looks like a skull there, don't it? Just weird. There's another one. That looks like a demon's head or something, don't it? Well, I know it's rock and the light hitting it a certain way, but it looks just like a demon's head right there. Weird. Here's another one just to the right of that light. That looks like a big skull, don't it? This is one weird cave. I've been in a lot of caves as a younger man. And this right here is some kind of little snail or something. I've never seen one before. down in this cave. I'd filmed it a couple of times. I don't know what that is. But like I said, this is a vertical cave 70 foot straight down. And I ain't no young man no more. I can't climb them ropes, especially no 70 foot. So this is a place that's always going to be a mystery to me till I get some buddies. Now, everybody say, oh, Donnie, you don't need any of these old Tennessee woods. Well, look at these woods. They're so vast, untouched. People they've just walked over them hunting. Time gone by. People hunting, people settling, people living, farming, whatever. It's just so much time has passed through these hills, it's just walked over. History laying there waiting to be picked up. Now here on Bullet Ridge, here's a big mystery. I've made 3 or 4 videos on this. What happened on the top of this ridge just now? Bullet after bullet do I find, just bullet after bullet. A few 3-ringers, but all styles of bullets, of all kinds, from musket balls to modern bullets. I know they hunted, but not all of them's hunting. Just something's happened around this ridge. If you want to see the video, there's what you go to, just to look at it. And here's some of the old finds for the last 2 years in these old Tennessee woods that I just showed you. And I barely scratched the surface on this. Barely. There's probably 20 times that laying there. Plus these old house seats that I haven't found yet, of old cabins gone and rotted away. Now here's some of the bullets. Some Civil War bullets, some modern bullets, some musket balls. I mean, all kinds. Now I always wondered, just about a half a dozen miles or so from here is where Davy Crockett and his family lived before he went to Middle Tennessee and got into government. I just wondered how many of these old musket balls that I found that just might have come out of his old trusty rifle he called Betsy. He only lived just a few miles up the ridge from here on this same ridge line. Now I didn't know that till I'd done some research. And he was a long hunter, so I'm pretty sure he walked over the same ground I walked over. And anyway, not few miles from here, there's an old place called Henry Station. It's long forgotten about. Only a few people even knows it existed. It was the first place that the treaty was signed with the Cherokee by John Sevier in 1785, settling this old Tennessee Valley. And another thing is old Hernando de Soto. He was the first European explorer that's documented to explore the Tennessee Valley. He come down the French Broad River, and that's just 1 mile below these ridges. So I know that he stayed there at an old Indian village that's underwater now under the lake for 3 weeks and explored the area. So I know he's probably stepped on the same ground that I've stepped on, just looking for gold. And he went on down the river, and the rest is history. So that's why I stay in these old Tennessee ridges. There's so much history here that nobody don't even know about. It's just laying here waiting to be discovered. So I'm searching for old history. Yes, I can go around these old house seats all day long, and I love that too. But the real history is laying in these ridges, back when they settled this country. So that's why I'm in the ridges. So I want to thank you all for watching, and hope you enjoyed this little story. And I'll see you next time.